Hello and welcome to another episode of Death by Bungie, another episode of Crossbow Appreciation Month. Now, for those of you who might be new to Death by Bungie, Crossbow Appreciation Month is August every year. Bungie has declared August to be Crossbow Appreciation Month. Now, I'm actually filming this video for Crossbow Appreciation Month in May. It's May 6th. I'm just wrapping up for the morning. Going to shoot a couple of videos. I'm out here hunting Spring Gobbler. Saw a nice hen come through this morning. Did not see a gobbler. That's okay. We'll give it another try here. We got lots of time left in the season. Pennsylvania starts a little bit later, but we have about a month or so left of the Spring Gobbler season, or close to it. So I got plenty of time to be out here enjoying the woods in the spring. The reason I wanted to make this video, however, I'm shooting it months in advance, is because it's a perfect time to talk about how you set up your yardages and determine your yardages ahead of time when you are crossbow hunting. Yardage, very important. What's number one with crossbow hunting? Accuracy is number one with crossbow hunting. It's very important that we maintain accuracy when we take shots on wild game. It is imperative that we are accurate. Now, to do that, not so much of a problem. We sight in the crossbow in the yard and all that sort of thing. But when we're out in the field, distance becomes very important, because the farther out you go, the more drop you have in your arrow, and therefore it's going to affect your accuracy. Now, especially when I'm hunting Spring Gobbler, if I'm fortunate enough to ever get a shot on a Spring Gobbler with a crossbow, we're looking at a softball-sized set of vitals. Okay, that's what we're aiming at, something that's the size of a softball. It doesn't take up a lot of space. For that reason, we don't have a lot of room for error. Now, I've done other videos, you might want to check those out if you're into Spring Gobblers, on the location of the vitals, where to take that shot, that sort of thing. So that makes it very important to know your distance, because the farther out you go, you can be off by a matter of inches. When you're dealing with a really small target like that, very important that we know our yardages. One of the most important accessories you can have in the field is a proper rangefinder. It doesn't have to be a real expensive one. You might have to spend $100 or so, but it is one of the most important assets and accessories you can have when you are in the field. That is my personal opinion. I've talked about that before. You need a proper rangefinder, especially if you're hunting from a tree stand, because it will help you calculate the angle of elevation and angle of declination. Gravity only affects arrow flight on a horizontal plane. So one of the things to look for in a rangefinder is one that calculates that for you, so you don't have to sit there and try and do any math. It usually doesn't make an awful lot of difference, but if you're going to buy a good rangefinder, buy one that has that built in, that feature built in. This one does. This is a Bushnell Scout 1000 ARC DX. I don't even know if they still make it. I'm very happy with it. I've been using it for years. Also, another little tip, clean your lenses carefully on those, including the infrared or the rangefinder portion of it. Everything on the front, and make sure you clean the back of that. Clean it with a nice soft towel, something like that, a little bit of breath on it. Clean it with your shirt. If its shirt is clean, that's okay, but you're going to want to make sure it's clean. It will help it function properly, make it easier for you to see, especially in those low light circumstances as well. But what I do when I get in here in a blind tree stand, no different. I get in and I set up, and once I'm all set up, I range find some of the landmarks to see my distances set up. Very important to have that. And one of the things that I do, for example, I have the hen decoy set up there, my Montana decoy, and I'll use the rangefinder real quick, put that on her. She is at 11.3 yards out there, perfect distance for that. Originally when I set it up this morning, it was only 7 yards away, and I kind of set up in the dark, of course, because the Spring Gobbler got all set up, and I ended up making sure the coast was clear, going out and moving it a little further away. 7 yards is a little too close. If they come in, I can't quite get the shot off, but didn't have any male visitors this morning, so didn't really matter. But the next thing you're going to do when you're all set up like this, get comfortable, get situated. We're going to start looking at trees or other landmarks. It can be rocks, it could be particular clumps of grass or weeds if you're looking over a food plot or a flat surface like that. That works really well too. But what I've done in this case is there are 2 maple trees that are on the 20-yard line. So again, using the rangefinder to calculate those distances, they are at 19 yards apiece. There are 2 of them there, and they are the perfect distance. Now actually the one off to the left, I don't think that's a maple. I'm not talking about the maple tree there. I'm talking about the little elm tree. I think that's a little slippery elm tree. They don't live an awful long time here in Pennsylvania. There's a thing called the Dutch elm disease. It tends to ruin those trees and kill them. But that tree, 19 yards also. So there I've got perfect place setting. Everything on there I know would be a 20-yard shot. If these gobbler comes in and he's close to my decoy, he's going to be a 10-yard shot. How perfect is that? Now further down the road here we see a maple tree that's lost a lot of its bark. Don't know what happened there, but it's awful wet as you get farther down in there. I think that probably played a role in it, but that tree has died. And if you look at that maple is 26 yards away. Now if the gobbler comes in from that direction, he's this side of that maple, maybe I use a 20-yard reticle, 20-yard shot. If he's on the other side of it, maybe I stretch out my range here with bungee and we go a little bit further and we try a 30-yard shot if he's on the other side of that. One other thing you might want to consider doing is if you're in a food plot, something like that, you can put in a fake distance marker, right? You don't have to rely on natural things like this. You can go get a rock from 35 yards away and bring that in and put it right on the 30-yard line. You can take a big branch, stick it in the ground over there if you want to do something like that to let you know where the 20-yard line is. And remember, yardage works both ways. You get there early enough, you set up your hunting area in advance, take control of your environment. Go out there and get a stick, range find that to your chair where you're sitting, and then stick that stick in the ground there or a rock there in the ground there. Go out further to 30 yards, set up your distances that way, and again, use the rangefinder to know exactly where you're going to be sitting. Use that rangefinder from a distance out at 30 yards to range find a 30-yard distance to your tree stand, so that you know when you pull the trigger, you're shooting a 30-yard shot. So you know when you pull the trigger, that arrow is going to go where you intend it to go. But that's what I do in a case like this. I hope that's helpful. I hope you found this useful. I hope you're enjoying your Crossbow Appreciation Month. I hope you're getting excited about the future of crossbow hunting as it's coming up very quickly for our fall seasons, wherever you are. Let me know if you have any other tips for testing your yardages or anything you do when you get into your hunting stand. And until next time, all hail bungee! Focus, there we are. Hello. Hello. Location of the vitals, where to take that shot, that sort of thing. But let's check and make sure that's on autofocus. Stabilization is on, I don't know why. Focus. Yeah, the autofocus is on.